back again for some more fun. Some more test panels today. And I'm going to try to keep my talking to a minimum here, but had some ideas last night after how things turned out. I was really happy with some of the results I was getting, but it made me think to try and get more of this undercoat come through. I'm going to try something else. So I'm going to go with, this has been drying for about 10 minutes, the yellow base coat. I'm going to hit it with a thin to moderate coat of the yellow first. Then I'm going to hit it with a little heavier coat of the red right before I hit it with the black Crackle. So my thoughts there is that having a still wet base of yellow will, in theory, help it to actually come out a little bit more. So we're gonna test that, and I got several other test pieces here that I'm gonna try some different color combinations now that I'm finding some of these new ideas with more than just two colors involved in Crackle. So let's go ahead and hit this, see what our outcome is, and we'll move forward. Kind of light. A little heavier. Back with the heat gun. Oh yeah. Paint was starting to bubble there. Oh, that did something. So again, I don't know what is really visible on this, but I'm seeing a lot more of the yellow come through, especially in the middle areas here. And the way it's coming through, I got a lot of cracks along the edges of yellow peeking through, which it's cool because there's a lot of red coming through as well. So it looks like it's fading in some spots, especially if you're far away. Some of it looks really orange, kind of in the middle here. If you get up close though, you can still see the separation between the yellow and the red. But some of it is kind of mixing to give sort of an orange hue. That's really cool. So that's a cool way to kind of blend your colors, create some different depth in the colors. I like that, and I think that might be a little more towards what Devon's was originally asking. Wow. All right, this one is a little bit of a different idea, and I'm not sure. Again, my buddy said something, and I'm not sure if this is exactly what he was asking for, but it gave me an idea. If we did a burst, you know, just a fade from one color to another. It's not much of a fade. Honestly, it's just two different colors sprayed. But my thought is if I start with the base like this, so you know, I'm going yellow along the edges, red in the middle for the base. This has been drying for about 10 minutes. I'm going to come back and I'm going to mix these colors up. So if I put yellow on top of the red, and then put red around the edges on top of the yellow, and then hit it with Crackle, am I going to get a cool effect where I have yellow cracks that have thin lines of red through them, and then that fades to red cracks that have, you know, thin lines of yellow behind them? I don't know. Let's find out. It's going to take a little longer because I'm going to have to, got a piece of cardboard here I'm going to mask off as I'm going, just to try and keep some relatively straight lines. And this will probably be a lot more difficult on a guitar when you're trying to go quickly and keep the paint wet. But I'm going to try it here, see if it actually yields any good results. I'm going to go a little heavier on the black because I didn't on that first one, and my cracks were a little smaller, but it still looked really cool. But try and go just a touch thicker on my Crackle. Just try and get a little more, a little bit larger cracks in there and a little more expansion. Let's give this a shot. Big bugs flying around. Okay. Possibly some results here. I went too heavy on the heat. My paint was starting to bubble a little bit. That's, again, operator error. So, got a little bit of the effect I was going for, particularly right around in here along the edges where the two colors came together. I can see some yellow cracking underneath the red. It's kind of a cool fade with the cracking too, and there's a little bit of red under the yellow in the middle area here. I went too heavy on the Crackle paint here. I could see it when I was getting ready to spray it. It was kind of puddling right there. So note to self, I need to be careful and actually watch how thick I'm putting this on. These thicker pooling areas like this tend to not yield a lot of cracks in them, so I need to try to keep it a little more consistent as I'm spraying. But that's a cool effect there. It's close to what I was hoping for, so I'm going to call that a success. Okay, the next three I'm really kind of excited about because this is something I had not considered until I started doing these experiments with 3 colors. So I've had ideas to do, I've got like 5 guitars that I want to crackle personally just for me, plus my buddy Devin's guitar. And I had ideas for all the guitars. So one of the guitars, my idea was to have a red bass with white crackle, and it's a Squire Strat. So I'm going to put black hardware on the whole thing and have black accents with the red and the black. But given this new turn of events, if I can have some black cracking through under the red and under the white as well for some additional accents, that would be really cool. So I'm going to try that. Got 2 others that I'm going to try after this too with some different colors that I'm excited about. So let's see what happens here. And based on previous results, I think we're going to be good. One thing is I got to be careful with the white crackle. I have not been doing a good job with the white crackle. I've been going too heavy, probably on both the crackles and the base coats. So I'm going to try to take my time on these and not let a lot of pooling happen so I can get some better cracks. I have yet to see some good cracks on my work with the white.
Going fast.
Not what I was hoping for. You can see this is what I was originally getting problems with, and I think it's just got to do with the thickness of the actual crackle paint. I'm getting some color bleed through in some areas, which I'm not fond of. The white seems to take away from whatever your base color is. That was a really vibrant, sort of a reddish pink color, and even looking at it in person, it takes away. Now I attempted spraying some black first. That probably a mistake, so I'm going to rectify that on the next one. Change course just a little bit and see how that affects things. But I guess I still need to go a little heavier with the white. The white seems to start cracking a lot faster than the black does. So I'm going to have to walk a fine line, I think, between how quickly or how much paint I put on it, not doing too much paint, but then also getting to it quick enough with the heat gun so that I can still get some larger and just more, I don't know, this is kind of black. The black comes through a lot better for whatever reason. Maybe I just haven't figured the white out yet, so I'm gonna have to keep testing. Alright, number 4 is one that I've been looking forward to. I bought a Schecter, one of the Diamond Series guitars, about a month ago off of Facebook Marketplace. I got it for 80 bucks. Had to replace all the electronics in it, and I threw a new pickup, a new humbucker in the bridge. I got a DiMarzio Crunch Lab. It sounds and plays killer now. So I've got less than 200 bucks wrapped up in this guitar, but it's this really ugly gold color. So I'm gonna paint that sucker. It's hideous right now. My idea here was to use a green base with a white crackle. This is the Rust-Oleum Meadow Green gloss color, and then hit that with a white crackle. Kind of hesitant and reluctant on this, given how my white has gone so far. These white crackles may not turn out the way I want to, so I'm gonna have to do some more testing, but we're gonna find out. This is the first time I'll be doing a green base with a white crackle, so I'm hoping for good results. Let's see what happens though. That came out really thick.
Hope that wasn't too much.
All right, this is actually probably my best results on a white so far. But again, something about this white seems to be taking away from the vibrancy of the base coat. I don't know if the white is actually mixing with the base coat since it is wet still, and it's causing some of the white to bleed into the base color. It might be something I need to experiment a tiny bit, giving my base coat maybe 2-3 minutes to sort of dry a little, get a little tacky before spraying that on to give it, allow it to shine more of that color through. Right now it almost looks like a hunter green, which is not a green that I like. I like really bright and vibrant shades of green. So or maybe I needed to reconsider the colors that I'm using as my base colors. So maybe it needs to be more of a brighter green on the white. But even then, if we're leaking white into the base color, I'm just gonna have to play around a little with a lot, I guess, on the white. The white's a little trickier than the black, unfortunately. But still, this is probably my best one. Still got a lot of small cracks though, and that could be the can. The can's giving me some issues. It's maybe I need to try to clear out that nozzle or something. But the last one we have here is not a white, so we shouldn't have that issue going forward. Again, my best white so far, but it's still not perfect. It's not like the black ones. Also gonna add, I don't see any of the black edges coming through right now. We'll see as this continues to dry throughout the day if I get any spreading that might pull some of the black in. But I'm not holding my breath on it. Same with the red one that I just did. I don't know that it's gonna do a whole lot. Now maybe something changes too when I go and I put some clear coat on these. That's something else to figure out. Maybe in a week or so after I let everything dry, I'm gonna go ahead and clear all these panels and see how much it makes the colors pop a little bit more. So there's still some more work to do on these before I say 100% what I'm gonna do. All right, on to my last one for now. Got a white base. I did, these panels come pre-primed, but I went ahead and sprayed that with a white enamel paint that I've got. That's something else I need to figure out too. These are acrylics. Well, this is actually an enamel. All the Rust-Oleums I've been using are acrylics, so possibility that maybe the enamel and the acrylic working together with the Crackle aren't responding well. So there's more testing to do in the future, but it's an enamel. This is VHT engine enamel hot pink. I've already sprayed a guitar with this, but I didn't have great results. And now that I'm doing these tests, I understand why. My timing was way too long on things, so I'm unfortunately going to end up sanding that whole guitar back down and redoing the whole thing. But I want to test the 3-color method here. So I know these crack. I don't know how well they crack given the short time frames that I'm now working with. So we're about to run this test and we're going to see what happens. I'm excited because, like I said, I have a guitar that's been painted and it looks pretty cool, but it doesn't have the organic cracks that I really like. So let's try this out. Okay, that one went a little more to plan than these white ones did. So I am seeing some of the white come through a little bit, which tells me that probably with a little bit more time, as things dry, it should shrink some more. One thing I've noticed on the guitar that I did, these cracks seem deeper than on the test pieces I've done, and the same is going with this one right here. The depth of these cracks seems a lot deeper, and I'm wondering if it's got anything to do with this VHT engine enamel that I'm using. I do actually have a can of, I want to say it's pink Krylon. Considering retesting with an acrylic based paint, whether it be that Krylon or I grab a can of a hot pink Rust-Oleum or something to see, because one other interesting thing with this, these cracks look a lot more of a pattern. They're like little blocks almost in a row, which, don't get me wrong, it still has more of that organic type of the barbed wire look. I don't know, that's the best way I can describe it. Still has more of that on it, but there's it's almost like right here. Look at that, it goes just straight down. You know, a lot of these are kind of in a row, albeit not a straight row, but fairly straight. There's another one here. It's less flowing and there's more structure to it, which I don't know if that's a result of the blue Crackle or the engine enamel that I'm using. So this is going to have to be something else that I test. But overall, I think it's definitely better. I don't know if I can say it's better than the guitar. Actually, I can say it is, because my guitar, I really kind of messed that up in the middle. There's areas where the cracks are so tiny you have to be up close to see them, where these are, you know, still fairly large cracks. You can see them from far away. So all in all, this is probably a better pattern than what I had on my guitar, but I'd still like to try to perfect this a little bit more. I don't know that the white undercoat, I don't know, I'll have to let that dry, see what it actually looks like at the end of the day. But some good success here and some learning curves for the day. It's another test in the bags.